that got to know it in a different way, that was interested to it. It was transforming. The practical thing that helped me most, after I realized that I had to have a dialogue with that thing called my mind, was that I could really reduce the amount of daily suffering. So I knew, for example, I would meet that angry boss at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock, or that distasteful person. I knew on my days that I had this meeting, that I was going to get in trouble for this, or I knew my sufferings would come in a certain flavor of ice cream. So meditation practically really helped me, once I got some ease of my body meditating, got to a point where I could imagine the Hector at 3 p.m. about to get angry at the yelling boss, and therefore creating more distress and more anger, and the causes for more yelling bosses. And I could see that Hector and communicate with that Hector, obviously in my mind as a play, and imagine that Hector not getting angry. On the contrary, imagine that Hector getting at peace, or understanding something deeper, or bringing people together rather than separating them. So you do that week after week. And of course, at 3 o'clock you get angry, and then you go home, you go, oh, I got angry, what happened? Day 2, you get angry a little bit closer to it. Day 3, you don't get angry at the moment, but you have brewing inside, day 4, day 5. But practically, meditation truly helped me over a period of months to remove obvious and strong suffering that was coming up, that I could practice in the day how I would be in that moment. And when the moment came, the habit of meditation stepped in and helped me at least not harm anyone. So get to know your mind, the thing that interprets your reality, through a practice of meditation, as lovely and as horrible as it will be for you. You decide. So I'll talk a little bit about meditation later. Then ritual. There's a whole bunch of rituals and practices that makes Buddhism look like a religion. Yeah? And it can be a religion for many, but not in the negative sense of the word. The practices and the rituals that are very, what do you call it when they're very specific, or in Tibetan Buddhism in particular, they are very, what's the word?
Systematic or something?
Yeah, they're like,
strict
you have to move this to the left, and it seems like someone's overthought it for.
Organized.
Yeah, regimented. Thank you. So those rituals have a basis, and that basis, if you tap into the base, it makes no difference really if you put this here, or if you put that there, or if you put it like that. I mean, physically it might, the liquid might pour out of it, but if it's mostly in your mind and your awareness of what is, then the intention with which you do a ritual or an action actually begins to habituate that sensation and that understanding and that view of your world with every movement. And therefore we do chants, and we do this, and we do the bowing, and we do the water bowl, and we do the blah blah blah. But there is nothing in there, it's just metal. I mean, the Dalai Lama laughs saying, I consecrated a statue, it was 100 feet tall, and that statue will be there for 1,000 years. But it can't teach you anything. Like, you need a living teacher to share stuff with you. He says, it will never speak a word. Yes, you should treat it like it's a word, but it's in your consciousness. It's what you do to you engaging with the world. That the rituals of Buddhism, regardless its school, can really help the practitioner habituate a state of view, a state of understanding your world that begins to remove suffering. Yeah? And Buddha, wake up. And then there's a whole practice of vowed morality to really turn on this idea of karma and practice. There's a whole set of practice, meaning you're not good at it, you're practicing, right? Some people think that they do a practice and if they're not perfect, instantly are failed. Practice is called practice for a reason. there's a whole set of practices around vowed morality. If you understand at the core that it's mostly in your mind where you're filtering your reality, and therefore you better start filtering niceness, goodness, perfectionness, loveliness, truthfulness, realityness, so you can experience all those things through that filter. If you know that, then vowed morality, making an extra effort, a promise, a solemn personal promise, public or private, doesn't matter, to do something in a certain way, gives it an extra sense of energy, and it creates the causes for a result to come quicker. So there's a whole set of practices around that. But the bottom line is your state of mind being in this planet that you are going to take or that you are going to give. That really comes down to the basis of most of the practices. Is your time on this planet as a conscious being one that says, I want that and I want that for me, for me, for me, for me, for me? Or are you looking at beings and saying, I wish you had this, I wish you had that. Here, try this. You're habituating different things. So we get to talk about that. And then again, I want to talk about meditation that talks about knowing and love. But is there an extension cord to the sound?
That is the extension.
I just want to put the speakers on here.
Oh.
Or is that?
Gotta get the long one.
If it's far away, it's
Are you
okay.
sure it's not over there?
The little one is here.
So I want just to give you a quick flavor of what it's like to actually get intimate with your practice of trying something. So I gave you some basics of Buddhism, and they're just words and they're just a perspective. But the real thing is not in connecting to a Buddhism. The real thing is about connecting to you. You're the one transforming. The Buddha, the Buddha said you've got to drink this stuff and you've got to internalize it. And if it works for you, then it's working. And if it doesn't work for you, make it work. No, he's saying you've got to make it work. Maybe it's a different drink that you need. Yeah? So the real essence, the real magic, the real transformation is when you engage with this or something that says, I want to figure out this world. There are many modes of being, and I can be this way, or I can be this way, or I can be this way. Thank you. Oh, there's no sound. No, you're joking. Let's have a look. I think it's coming up. Any questions so far before I show you a quick video? Then we're done with the video. About what we talked about, or any of the practices. In next month's talk, I want to go more in detail about karma, or emptiness, or vowed morality, or meditation, and the rest. And we get a chance to spend more time on those. But the first one, I want to give you all a quick flavor of the overall scheme of things. Any questions? Any comments? Yeah?
What would you say to someone who doesn't know anything about Buddhism and really wants to get a deeper sense of themselves? Like, I have a younger cousin who, over Christmas, is like asking me questions, doesn't know anything about Buddhism, but wants to be able to develop a deeper relationship with themselves. So somebody who doesn't necessarily have the opportunity to be in a room with other people or to hear the words from someone live, without just throwing them to like Hector Marcel's ACI 1 first video where you wear that nice sweater and you look really great. But without just giving her that, like, oh yeah, check this out, right? Some connecting point, some like connective tissue that if someone's not in this room, you don't have the opportunity.
It's funny because I have one of the most enlightened people I know, besides my holy teacher, is this crazy Jewish guy in Australia called Evan Shapiro, right? Which some of you might know. Oh, yeah. You know Evan Shapiro? Oh, he's like out there. Do you really know?
He's great. It's the same guy.
Is it really?
I know a guy named that he does non-dual teaching.
No.
It's a different one?
Yeah. This guy's crazy.
Oh, this guy's.
Yeah. But I learned from Evan Shapiro. It's funny that I want to connect him to him. Yeah, so let's see what happens. I want to connect him to himself. And Evan said to me, I woke up one morning, it was like New Year's Eve 5 years ago, and he says, I thought, what if I landed on the planet and this was my first day and I didn't know what the hell was going on? What if I just landed in this thing and gone, what is this? And he says, and I did a practice, it was beautiful. It was just mindfulness, meditation and awareness, okay? He says, I did a practice that I decided an entire week, all I would do is I would investigate with pleasure every single thing that smelled. So yes, I went to my job, I looked at the kids, but my sense of smell was the thing I connected with. And it opened his eyes to the way he was disconnected from his world of his sense of smell in his world. And I thought that was brilliant. And then he did it with touch. And he began touching fruit in vegetable shops, which was unhealthy. And he began doing things. He did it with sound and light. And it was like he was alive for the very first time. And as he did that with each of the senses, what do you think happened when I said to him, do it with mind? And then we talked about him doing it with mind. What if the experience you have of who you are, how you think and feel and sense, and what if that was the very first time you felt connected to that? That's a practice. And that should connect you to your real world, the one that you're filtering all the time. And we're filtering it so quickly, we know this is a room and we know that's a person and we don't connect. If you connect as if it's the first time, it is vibrant and alive, like it's got a fire that you've never felt. That's a practice. That's a Buddhist practice for a non-Buddhist.
It also gets you in touch with your observing self.
Of course, yeah. And it's just lovely. And you can do that with hatred and everything as well. Anyway, let me show you this. I found this from Alan Watts, and I think the guy's amazing, and I think he's a little crazy. And
Is Alan Watts?
yeah,
Oh, it's
Watts.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great.
Let's see if it shows. So here we go. This is what practice might look like after a while.
What there is you. And that should be absolutely obvious. But it is not obvious at all. That should be the simplest thing in the world. That you, the I, is what has always been going on and always will go on forever and ever. But we have been bamboozled by religions, by politicians, by fathers and mothers, by all sorts of people to tell us, you're not it. And we believed it. So, do you see now why, if I put it to you in this very negative way, you can't do anything to change yourselves, to become better, to become happier, to become more serene, to become mystics or anything. If I say you can't do a damn thing, can you understand this negative statement in a positive way? What I'm really saying is that you don't need to. Because if you see yourselves in the correct way, you are all as much extraordinary phenomena of nature as, say, trees, clouds, the patterns in running water, the shape of fire, the arrangement of the stars, the form of the galaxy. You are all just like that. There's nothing wrong with you at all. Except that I have to add this little flip. You have, in you do think there's something wrong. See? And there's no question, you do. We all object to ourselves in various ways. And I'm going to add, there's nothing wrong with that either. Because that's part of the flow. That's part of what is going on. That's part of what we do. So I don't, you see, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to deliver you from a sense of guilt. Because I'm going to teach you that you needn't feel guilty because you feel guilty. Of course you feel guilty. It's like someone put a match on you and you feel hot. So they taught you as a child to feel guilty, and you feel guilty. You say, well, if somebody comes along and says, well, you shouldn't. That's not the point. I'm going to say, not that you shouldn't, but that you do, and don't worry about it. And if you want to say further, but I can't help worrying about it, I'm going to say to you, okay, worry about it. This is the principle called in Japanese judo, meaning the gentle way. Go along with it, go along with it, go along with it. So therefore, this is the beginning of meditation. You don't know what you're supposed to do. What can you do? Well, if you don't know what you're supposed to do, you watch. You simply watch what's going on. Like, say, somebody plays music. You listen. You just follow those sounds. And eventually, you understand the point of the music. The point cannot be explained in words, because music is not words. But after a while, in listening to any music, you will understand the point of it. And that point will be the music itself.
Sweet.
How awesome is that?
Awesome.
So then eventually you get to that, yeah? You get to some kind of flow that it's okay, but you got to begin by watching. And it's about, there's no practice out, there's no Buddhism out here in these things that's going to help you. Yes, you can go connect to it and rest, but you have to do something, which is not doing, just watch. And I think that sums up Buddhism 101 in a nice mystical way. Yeah. I also have a few other things to mention. Thanks for coming, by the way. This is the first time I do this as a non-formal teaching, and I like it. It's nice to have a discussion that's separate from what could seem like dogma if you're studying the Abhidharma or if you're studying past lives, or there's a sense in that rhythm that disconnects you from, if you're a little ignorant like me, from really figuring out how am I in this world I've just found myself in, and how do I feel bliss, just being. And is there something wrong? Yeah, and that's okay. There's 7 billion of you, and each one wants as much happiness as I do. And there's something lovely in that. Yeah. So I invite you to, if you want to brave the Asian Classics Institute courses, which start next Thursday, every Thursday, we're doing Death and the Realms. It's a really beautiful topic. And it talks about transformation. It talks about existence. And it reiterates some of the things that we've learned in the last 2.5 years. But that starts here every Thursday. A couple of other things. There's this amazing teacher, Geshe Michael Roach. He's coming. He's my holy teacher. He's coming February 10, 11, and 12 to teach this painting called the Bhava Chakra, which is not here, the Wheel of Life. And it talks about there's a code in imagery inside this painting that talks about us being locked in cycles. He's going to talk to the painting and the iconography in it and the practice that you can find in it in relation to peeling off your addictions. whatever we're addicted to, sex, internet, food, depression, self-talk, negativity, whatever we're addicted to, is peeling off that addiction. So he's going to talk to the wheel on that. It's going to be an amazing thing. And then there is a huge party happening the following weekend, which is Valentine's Day in Bushwick for all those of you who live in real Brooklyn. And it's going to be a benefit for 108 Lives, something that was born out of the 3 Jewels, with a bunch of people taking care of homeless and kids, etc. in Nepal. But that 20 people are going there in April, and we're fundraising to pay for food for soup kitchens, medical clinics, etc. And we're just going to have fun. We're going to marry people for the night because it's Valentine's Day. Singles can find a date. We're going to have love potions where if you drink it, you're going to fall in love with somebody that evening. 2 great DJs, like big international DJs, are going to come play at this place called Fine and Raw Chocolate Factory. So it's an actual chocolate factory in a big warehouse, like Willy Wonka's. In a glass case, you see all the chocolate being made. We're DJing at the top, wedding booth, elixirs and food and raw chocolate, and all the money raised is for door entry or drinks or whatever is going to Nepal to feed some kids. So come have fun if you want. There's some of those at the front. And sorry, I went 7 minutes. Thank you so much for indulging me in talking about these beautiful things. Yeah, they're worth talking about. And I hope you meet yourself at the door there, but don't fall down the stairs. Thank you.
And if you guys,
Thank you.
if you guys didn't get a chance to donate, please donate in the donation bowl at the front. The 3 Jewels is a donation-based center, and we are only able to have these classes because of you. So, thank you for coming, and thank you for teaching.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's a big event. That's not see you guys. That's a great.
Hi,